Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I am so happy that we have Brooke back. Brooke was here with us 2 weeks ago, so it's a privilege to have her again today. Today's session is going to be an introduction to BDC. But before we begin our session, we want to point out that there have been conversations in our community about land acknowledgements and whether standard scripts for such acknowledgements are more performative than authentic. So our internal team at Founders Fund is working on a solution that will pay tribute to the indigenous communities on the lands in which we operate. And until then, we would like to acknowledge the longstanding indigenous history of the land of which we currently stand. So we do recognize that our community is spread across North America and will have unique indigenous groups and cultures within each. A tool that we love to learn about more on the land you're on, a tool that we love to learn, a tool that we have for you guys to learn more about the land that we're on is called Whose Land. And I will link this tool down below for you guys to refer to. So moving on to our session, I am happy to introduce Brooke. So Brooke Gordon is passionate about supporting women, and she is a regional manager for BDC's client diversity strategy, where she connects business owners with people and programs to grow and scale their business. Brooke is committed to ensuring all Canadian entrepreneurs thrive through every step of their business journey with the help of dedicated partner organizations and regional hubs across the entrepreneurial ecosystem. As an entrepreneur herself, Brooke is the founder of a social enterprise to support women in their personal and professional growth from a foundation of health. She is also a weightlifting enthusiast and passionate volunteer with the Optimist International, supporting education and career mentorship for women and girls. Brooke has a master's in entrepreneurship and innovation and both a bachelor's and master's in engineering physics from McMaster University. She is additionally a certified personal trainer and health coach. Wow, so Brooke is everything and more. So I'm so happy to introduce Brooke and to read this amazing bio. So Brooke, I'm going to pass it along to you.
Zoba, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm so excited to be here. So hello, everyone. Again, my name is Brooke Gordon, and I am the Regional Manager for Client Diversity, supporting Ontario here for BDC, the Business Development Bank of Canada. There is so much that we do to support Canadian entrepreneurs. And that's why we actually first titled this presentation, I think, when we were working together. And what do we call it? It's like BDC 101. Where do I even start? So my goal for today is to give you an overview of our offerings. I'm going to have some links for you, and I'll include those in the chat at the end. But if at any time you have any questions, please pop them in. I know that there's a spot for you to be able to do that at the bottom of your screen, and I'm happy to help answer any questions that you have. Now, I've been with BDC for a little over 4 years, and so I wanted to start by sharing why I joined the bank. So we're proud to be the first financial institution in Canada to receive what's called the Beneficial Corporation, or the B Corp certification. And we were the 100th Canadian company to join the B Corp community. Now, B Corps, these are businesses that act in a way that benefits society as a whole, rather than focusing solely on making profits. The certification is granted by a nonprofit organization, and they're called B Lab. And it's kind of similar if you've ever heard of Fair Trade for coffee, or maybe the LEED certification for green buildings. So what's required is you have to become certified, and companies can they must meet very high standards of purpose and social and environmental performance, transparency, and accountability. And so compared to traditional companies, B Corps are recognized for creating greater economic opportunity, strengthening local communities, and preserving the environment. And that was one of the things that really drew me to BDC as an employee. Now, SMEs, these are small and medium-sized enterprises. So small businesses, they're defined as having fewer than 100 employees, and medium as less than 500 employees. So that's the very formal definition. But that means in Canada, 99.8% of all companies are small and medium-sized businesses. And the last report that I saw from Stats Canada was 1.1 million businesses in Canada. But just yesterday, Intuit, now they're the company who makes QuickBooks, they released a study that says that nearly 2 million Canadians launched a business in the last 12 months. And wow, when I read that this morning, my heart literally swelled with excitement. And the reason is because I love my job. BDC, wow, we're fortunate to work with 62,000 clients all across Canada. They're running businesses at all stages of development in all industries in every part of the country. And so what we do, we lend, we invest, we advise these businesses because we want them to be more productive, more agile, more profitable, more competitive. We want them to be able to grow faster. So to accomplish this here at BDC, I'm one of 2,400 employees, and we have close to 123 business centers located across the country. Now, as Canada's development bank, we want to be where the entrepreneurs are, and we want to be able to provide them with the financing and advisory services that they need. So what's important is that they get that when they need it. So because we have a national presence, we're able to reach entrepreneurs in each region of Canada. That being said, the majority of our business centers are currently closed, but like any other company or many other companies, we pivoted to being able to work online as well so we could better serve those entrepreneurs all across Canada. So that's why today you're meeting me in my home. So what do we actually do at BDC? Well, we are the bank for entrepreneurs, and we're what's called a crown corporation. So our mandate is to complement the role played by the private sector financial institutions. These would be we call them your home bank, where you normally have your bank account. Now, we're profitable and we operate at no cost to the Canadian taxpayer. And in fact, on the opposite, we pay a dividend to our sole shareholder, who's the government of Canada. And we offer three things. We offer financing in the form of term loans, we offer capital, and we offer advisory services. Now, our business loans, these are, we call them our bread and butter. It's part of what makes us complementary, is that we're willing to take on a higher risk transactions, we offer flexible terms, and we do price accordingly. BDC also offers what we call indirect financing, and I'm not really going to get into that today, but it's a specialized form of financing specifically for finance and leasing companies. And then we also have an investment arm. We call it BDC Capital. And there, what we offer is a full spectrum of specialized risk capital. We have venture capital, as well as growth and business transition capital. And then we also offer a full range of non-financial services to entrepreneurs as well. This is our consulting arm, and that's all offered through our advisory services business unit. And that's actually where I started at the bank. Now, one of BDC's most important roles is to support entrepreneurs during difficult times. And that mandate for us has never been more critical than over the past 15 months. So I was so proud when BDC stepped up to deliver relief to entrepreneurs in a time of great need. And I know as the members of Founders Fund, you have early stage startups right through to scale ups. And so I do want to take a brief moment to just show the full breadth of support that we have actually been part of. Now, as the COVID-19 crisis unfolded, BDC participated in what we call the whole of government response. So for example, we work closely with our sister organization, EDC, which is the Export Development Canada, and with other private sector financial institutions to design and implement the Business Credit Availability Program, the BCAP. And that was to assist as many owners as possible. And you would apply for that directly through your financial institution. We also developed a set of direct response measures to support entrepreneurs. And the key ones here, we did loan postponements for our clients for up to 6 months, and we offered more than 40,000 of those postponements. We have up to 2 million in working capital loans with flexible terms, and that resulted in 2.5 billion in new financing. And for eligible Canadian venture capital backed startups, we call them VC startups, we designed a program. It was called the BDC Capital Bridge Financing. And there our goal was to match the current financing rounds raised through qualified existing or new investors. We also developed 3 new advisory service solutions to guide entrepreneurs through to recovery. So our experts provided advice remotely on how to increase your inline sales. And this was to minimize disruption by quickly boosting your online presence and sales from digital activities. We looked to help maintain critical activities with an operations and cash flow plan. And this was by mitigating financial and operational risk to function during these challenging times. And then we wanted to be able to reduce the health risks at your workplace by ensuring public health guidelines were properly implemented and enforced in the workplace. And that becomes all the more important as we look to being able to reopen, especially here where I'm sitting in Ontario. We compiled all the federal and provincial government support measures in businesses in one place. So that's on our website. I'll make sure to add that link as well. It's called bdc.ca/coronavirus. Now, the entrepreneurs that I speak with, these are passionate people. They are achievers and doers and high performers. Women in particular put a lot on their shoulders to turn their dreams into reality. And our business and our personal lives, well, they start to overlap. And entrepreneurs are much more likely to bring their business stress home. They worry about cash flow, they worry about maintaining work-life balance, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So one of the things that I was also really excited about is when I saw BDC compile a list of resources. Now, these are intended to offer you a whole range of services around mental health, well-being, and my hope for you is that as you go through them, you'll be informed and educated, inspired, guided. And I do acknowledge that this list is not exhaustive, but we do try to add content over time. And again, you can find that one at bdc.ca/wellbeing, and I'll be sure to add that in the chat at the end as well. Now, our research shows that one of the major sources of stress is cash flow and having enough working capital to implement the vision you want for your business. And this is really important. This is an area that I'm really passionate about talking about. So I'm going to make myself some notes so I really stay tight on this one. Because at BDC, we offer entrepreneurs access to working capital. So that means the purchase of equipment. And you can see on this slide, we offer so much more: real estate, buying a new business. Is something that we don't talk about as often. We talk about starting up a new business, but the idea of being able to come into a going concern and growing it to the way that you want it to be. Investing in technology, maybe selling your business or transferring it. These are all opportunities that we fund as well. So what makes BDC different? Well, we're a patient and flexible lender. What we offer is longer repayment periods. We have repayment cycles that match to your cash flow cycle. Again, the thing that I'm super passionate about, because we acknowledge that some businesses are seasonal. We do have a higher risk tolerance in how we assess loans, and we have terms and conditions that don't change without due cause. Another thing that's really important to know is we don't take personal assets as collateral for a loan. Now, we do have an investment arm at BDC that I mentioned earlier. It's called BDC Capital, and that plays a very prominent role in fostering a healthy and vibrant Canadian innovation ecosystem. And you'll start to see a theme here. It has 3 divisions. And so we have BDC Growth and Transition Capital. So this is customized financing if you're if you're either established or you're a high growth company and you don't have tangible assets, things like buildings or equipment to qualify for a term loan, but you also want to look to finance a new project, a business transition, maybe an acquisition. And so in this case, the team offers a full range of financing options. So we call these mezzanine, cash flow, quasi-equity financing solutions. They're very flexible terms, and these are for what we call mid-market and high revenue growth companies. And that's because the loans typically are from like $250,000 up to $35 million. These solutions really allow businesses to raise capital when they have insufficient tangible assets, so the hard assets to pledge for security, and they don't want to dilute ownership. So this is an affordable alternative to equity financing. On the flip side, we do offer equity financing through our venture capital arm. So this is what we call the VC front at BDC. And here, Canadian companies, it's really supporting technology-based companies that offer unique products and services when addressing promising global markets. So we're involved at every stage of the company's development cycle, from seed right through to expansion. And our investment period typically is 7 to 10 years. This is high risk investing. And so BDC, we work with promising entrepreneurs, we work with angel investors, other venture capital funds, really trying to work to invest in outstanding Canadian businesses through direct investing, investing in other venture capital funds, and co-investing. And we have maybe 80 investee companies, and our growth equity team takes a minority equity investments. This is the final group. And so they're really, again, for mid-market. These are entrepreneurs looking for $2 to $25 million in investment. Now, to support the growth of tech firms, we do have a dedicated pan-Canadian technology team. And so they work closely both with our BDC Capital team, our advisory services, and our sister corporation, EDC, to ensure that we have a full spectrum of support for tech businesses by connecting them to the best funding solutions and advice. So across all of BDC, we support more than 3,500 tech companies, including 900 that are VC-backed innovation firms. You may also have heard of our Women in Tech Fund. So we have, this is a $2 million fund. It's the largest VC equity fund exclusively dedicated to women in tech in the world. We focus on women-led technology businesses, not just founded, because we believe that when we invest in companies at the early stage, these are companies to maybe 500,000 in revenue, all the way up to 25 million. We really want to have as our goal to empower not only women CEOs, but the entire leadership team to encourage more diversity and inclusion in key leadership positions. So that was really important to us. And as a B Corp, BDC also plays an important role in supporting promising sectors that are key pillars to making Canada the world leading center for innovation. And that, of course, includes clean tech. So we have a national $600 million 5-year clean tech initiative, and that's designed to support the growth of the industry. So I am at heart a storyteller. They're the things that energize me and bring me so much joy, is hearing the stories of other entrepreneurs. And so I'd be delighted to share one with you. So I want to highlight one of our VC investee companies. We're so proud of Blue Dot. They're true game changers with the potential to change the world. They're a digital health company, and they protect people around the world from infectious diseases with human and artificial intelligence. And so they were one of the first to raise the alarm about the coronavirus. And we're really proud to have Blue Dot in our portfolio. They illustrate a clear recipe for success. They have incredible innovation. They have an incredibly talented people. So these are top minds from around the world, and they have access to capital at all stages of their growth. So we were early investors in both companies. And here again, the recipe we're trying to show is to have true innovation, give them uninterrupted access to capital, and then help turn them into global champions. Now, I've talked a lot about funding for fast-growing companies, but at BDC, we serve entrepreneurs at every stage of their journey, including the need for smaller loans. So I don't know if you knew this, but you can apply for up to $100,000. There's no application fee, and the application is done 100% online. So I'll make sure to add that link at the end of the chat as well. Now, as a development bank, and I am a development banker, we go far beyond financing to give entrepreneurs practical advice to help them run a better business and be more profitable, because we know that entrepreneurs need money to succeed. So we've been offering advisory services for more than 30 years. Our national network of consultants, these are highly experienced specialists, and they can help entrepreneurs scale up their business, be more productive, to help them innovate, help them globalize. Our experienced advisors, they gain a deep understanding of the entrepreneur client's business, and then they help them address whatever immediate and inevitable changes that are happening because of growth. And we're there to work alongside, no matter how daunting it seems. We accompany companies through their mandate, and so we actually offer objective, practical advice on a wide range of subjects. And our goal is to, again, really help to build strong, successful companies. And our solutions are designed to equip entrepreneurs with the knowledge and know-how to manage their every function in their company with confidence. And that's because we want entrepreneurs to be able to work smarter. So our goal is to help adopt and incorporate best practices to meet your challenges and to remain competitive. So very first thing, accelerating your growth. And so we work on increasing your sales by focusing on sales and marketing, whether it's traditional or digital, as well as innovation and product development. Second, we want to help you with your business to become more agile and efficient. So looking at improving operational efficiency, streamlining processes, being able to implement lean manufacturing, selecting the right equipment and technology for your business. We also help you build organizational capacity, so how to manage your business effectively. And so here we offer things like strategic planning, financial management, organizational design, and HR management. And then we work on finding new markets to help you keep growing your business, including international expansion. And finally, we can also help you address the more specific needs like optimizing your online sales. So before I leave this slide, I want to pause and just to remind, because we talk about finding new markets, one of the things that I have found that comes up often is women tell me, oh, well, I don't know about that. Exporting is not for me. It's not the right business that I have. But if you have any customers from outside of Canada, well, technically you're an exporter. So I want you to just remember and lean into that, because it's something that sometimes we don't hold that label for ourselves, but it's absolutely feasible and possible. And one of the things that I'm really excited to share with you today is that we know that it has a positive impact. We know that our insight and advice working with clients to develop their capacity for growth, profitability, innovation, strengthen their competitive edge. I mean, these are all just words, but 9 out of 10 of our clients say that they actually did have a positive impact on their business. And that for me was really exciting. Now I want to share, I told you before, I love stories. So Well-Dressed Home, this is one of our advisory services clients. And at the start of the pandemic, they literally described it as a free fall in revenues in the first few months. And it truly threatened their survival. So what do? The company is, they stage vacant homes in Ontario to prepare them for sale. Now, spring is usually their busiest season, but of course, last March, revenues they found they had slid by about 30%. And then by April, they had dropped by 97% because the lockdown was preventing them from staging homes and condos for sale. They also couldn't go into homes to offer their decorating services. And so the month of May saw revenue fall by 70%. Sheldon Pereira, whose wife Susie owns the company, knew they had to find ways to boost their revenues. They had to control their cash flow. He shared with me a couple of quotes that I want to share with you. So when we saw the cash flow diminishing, he said, we were trying to figure out what to do to save the business. We had to find other sources of income. And so the company cut their expenses by 70%, which was hard to do. And they started selling its inventory for staging homes instead of paying for it on a monthly basis to rent it out. The couple it was a couple, they had bought a luxury home, decided to buy it staged. So that was fabulous because they bought everything on site. They loved the work that had been done. So they also adapted social distancing rules. So of course they had virtual consultations with homeowners. They could do a walk through their home with a digital device. The owners could pay for furniture to be delivered in their driveways, and then they would put it in place according to the plan that the team had designed for them. And so they continue to work, obviously, within the Ontario guidelines with practicing proper hygiene in the home, but they're also adding e-commerce to their website, which is new. They're going to be able to sell pre-staged and new furniture. So what was Sheldon's advice as the economy reopened? I love this one, so I wanted to share this with you. Never stop looking for sources of income. It's important to understand the cash flow side of the business. And I couldn't agree more. It is an area that I think is so powerful, is really understanding all the money in and all the money out and how you're going to project that out. So I love that advice from him. Now, I was a consultant before joining BDC's Growth Driver program, and it's a program that's tailor-made for ambitious mid-sized firms with a track record of rapid growth. Firms, they work directly with a seasoned leader who has experience in overcoming challenges associated with growing a business. And so at the same time, there's an extensive network of peers. I manage the analyst team. We have resources that we are able to support the firm. So the ultimate goal of the program, the High Impact Firms program, the Growth Driver program, it was to be able to help these firms identify and develop the skills that they need to advance to the next level. And more importantly, working one-on-one with CEOs to articulate their growth strategy, develop an action plan, and then take action and implement it. Now, as Canadians Development Bank, we want to grow the country's entrepreneurial community, and we want to ensure that we have a greater impact on more business owners. There have been so many events that have happened in the world this past year. There's the pandemic, of course. There's the recent anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. There's the horrific discovery of the children at Kamloops in BC. And so my colleagues and I, we've been committed to listening, to unlearning, to learning. And under the direction of Laura Diddick, there are 5 regional managers for client diversity, including myself, from all across Canada. And we have over 100 champions. These are men and women who have raised their hand and said, I want to do more for diverse clients. And our research shows that companies with gender and ethnic diversity, they consistently deliver more innovation, higher revenues, larger profits, better employee retention. Companies that have racial and ethnic diversity, they earn 35% above the standard industry returns. And this was according to McKinsey, one of their reports. We also have seen McKinsey, same firm, said that in their research that closing the gender gap could add $420 billion to the Canadian economy by 2026. Numbers almost unfathomable. And yet Canadian business owners, when they're asked to, we come to talk to them, they're saying, okay, well, how do we address the labor shortages? Because only 6% say they plan to hire newcomers to Canada in a recent survey. And in addition, we think about all the barriers that are faced, whether it's for women entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, Indigenous, youth, LGBTQ. The good news is that diversity and inclusion, these are part of BDC strategy. It's actually part of our core company values. And so we want the organization and the people working in it to reflect Canada's increasing diverse workforce. We see this every day at BDC. We've made it a priority to support diverse entrepreneurs who face unique barriers in starting and growing their business. And we try to do our part to ensure that all entrepreneurs have access to financing, capital advice, connections, resources, inspiration, the people and program that they need to succeed. So I'll give you a couple of examples of some of the initiatives that we've been involved in recently that I'm really excited about. We joined our funding partners, Futurepreneur and RBC, to support young Black entrepreneurs across Canada. So through the Black Entrepreneur Startup Program, Futurepreneur is increasing support for aspiring young Black business owners through a tailored version of its core offering. And just this week, the Government of Canada announced steps to address the long-standing systemic barriers in starting or growing a business with its first ever Black Entrepreneurship Program to better support Black entrepreneurs on their road to success. So the loan program is run by FACE in partnerships with credit unions, Vancity and Alterna Savings, and it's going to allow financing of up to $250,000 for Black business owners and entrepreneurs so that they can grow their business and succeed both now and into the future. Futurepreneur also offers collateral-free loans at better interest rates than most banks, but it can't do it alone. So thanks to BDC, they are able to finance up to $20,000 per business. And then in addition, BDC could provide an additional $40,000 for that as well. So if there's any questions you have about information for this, please let me know. I do have some of the finer details, but I'm not sure that this is the best way to do that. So just send me a DM and I'm happy to share any other information about you with that. Now, the thing that I'm really passionate about, you heard that in my bio, striving to serve women entrepreneurs. So before my recent title change, I was the senior advisor for women entrepreneurs, serving both in Ontario and across Canada. And a few years ago, we took on a leadership role at BDC to advance women entrepreneurship on all fronts: financing, partnerships, capital, mentorship. And through our women entrepreneur strategy, we provided more than $1.4 billion in financing to 5,000 women-led businesses since 2018. And then in addition, more than 100 BDC employees got involved as champions specifically to support women entrepreneurs. And I'm so excited because as a result, we have grown the number of women entrepreneurs we're supporting to more than 8,500. So this is really exciting to actually see that we were able to make an impact specifically by getting money out into the hands of those who needed it. Now I want to share again a story. I love stories. This is Mary Ann Carrigan. She's the owner of Perkinji in Montreal, and they are a company specializing in the computerization of patient records. So it was founded 45 years ago. Marianne, she joined the company in 2007, I think, as the general manager, and her mission was to turn around the business because it had been actually losing several $1 million annually. In 2008, she bought the company and she returned it back to profitability. Now, the Montreal company is at the heart of the processes for implementing the Hospital Information System, the HIS, in the Quebec Health Network. And they work closely with various hospitals and the hospital network in Montreal on the exchange of health data between the systems of the different provinces' health institutions. So just an amazing story. Again, where it doesn't necessarily need to be a startup. It could also be a purchase of a business that you can see potential in and know that you can mold it into your own vision. Now, we believe entrepreneurship can play a vital role in creating a brighter future for Canada's Indigenous peoples. And today, more than any other day, I am so excited to share that I'm working closely with my colleague, Monica James, and with lead investments from the Government of Canada, BDC, and our sister corporations, EDC, who I've mentioned, and also FCC, which is Farm Credit Canada, as the development of the Indigenous Growth Fund. And this is a $150 million investment fund that will provide access to capital that Indigenous small and medium-sized enterprises have long sought and lacked. Indigenous entrepreneurs from all across the country, including emergent exporters, food and agriculture related businesses, they'll be able to access the fund via business loans through what's called the Aboriginal Financial Institutions. You may know them as the AFIs, and they're across the country. So BDC, we also offer an Indigenous entrepreneur loan. So this is financing of up to $250,000 for existing businesses or $150,000 for startups. And this is on and off reserve. Again, flexible repayment terms. Our goal is to protect cash flow, limited personal risk because personal assets are not taken as collateral, and there's a community aspect. So unlike conventional loans, BDC actually refunds a portion of the interest paid to a registered charity of the entrepreneur's choice. And that was so meaningful when Monica shared those details with me. Now I want to pause here and share another story. Before we do that, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. So the virtual gurus. This is such an awesome story. Bobby really wanted to make sure that its virtual assistants stayed employed during the COVID-19 pandemic, offering discounts, some free services to its clients in the early months of the shutdown. So their CEO, her name is Bobby Reset, she said, we had a number of clients quit, and then people realized that the business had to go on and everybody had to pivot. She said the company did its own pivot after she spoke to investors about helping out startup companies and keeping virtual assistants working, many of whom she employs are from marginalized communities, Indigenous, LGBTQ, people of color. She said, we provided 110 startups with free services with things like social media. We didn't want our startup friends to stop working, so we offered a 40% discount for 1 month. Because we wanted to make sure that our virtual assistants still had work, we paid them their regular hourly rate. Oh, it just warms my heart every time I think about this story. She said virtual gurus did take a financial hit during the first 2 months of the pandemic, but by April had actually started reattracting paying customers, and they only ended up losing a small number of clients overall. The business rebounded last summer. May and June was a great month in Calgary. People realized that they still needed administrative services and they weren't done pivoting. So she said, I think we have the most requests for services in this month in the whole history of Virtual Gurus. And that was when we chatted last June. So she said she sees opportunity for the new normal because employers are seeing new value of remote work in terms of cost and quality, and clients who had to leave due to the pandemic are starting to come back. And so she's been welcoming them back with a lower rate. Now, BDC, we also organize something called Small Business Week. So this is a week-long celebration of our clients and their stories because, oh my goodness, this is a thing that is just so much fun. So for the past 40 years, we literally spend an entire week celebrating small businesses. So that's going to be coming up in October. So make sure you keep your eyes posted for that because there's so many events that go on during that week. Now, we also support entrepreneurs in other indirect but powerful ways. So on our website, bdc.ca, you've heard me talk a little bit about that before. We offer a variety of free advice for entrepreneurs. We've got templates, we've got articles, we've got tools, ebooks, blog articles, trying to think of what else. Oh my goodness, we've got e-courses as well, free e-courses. And one of my favorite ones, I'm going to mention it because I have to, cash flow management. So there's financial fundamentals 1 and 2, and cash flow and advanced cash flow. Those 4 courses, definitely recommend looking them up. They're pretty awesome. Now, as part of our mission is to help create and develop Canadian businesses, we have an active research and market intelligence department, and they regularly produce surveys, reports. You've actually heard me refer to them a couple times throughout this presentation. And so one of the things, I've got listed just a couple of them here, but one of the ones that I do want to say is if you sign up for our newsletter, I think it's called BDC Insights, you actually get access to all of that insight, and all of it is free. And I don't think enough people know about that. We've also been looking at how to be a better customer for Canadian entrepreneurs. And so BDC actually has a supplier diversity program. And so it ensures that our suppliers are as diverse as our clients. So BDC businesses can now add their profile to our online supplier we have a database, and that gives us more visibility into the full range of options that are available. As an organization, we are already seeing many benefits. We have improved innovation, we have higher quality through access to suppliers we might not have otherwise identified. And our supplier pool, this is important, is more reflective of the fabric of our country, as well as our company employees. But we also are providing opportunities to help businesses grow. We hear all the time companies are saying to us, I want larger contracts, I want to grow, I want to do business with larger businesses. And so if you have any questions about how to do that, I think it was last week, Chizoba, correct me if I'm wrong, but last week Maud Pariseau gave a talk about supplier diversity. So if you have any other questions, again, you can write to either her or myself. And for BDC, we actually have an I am supplier section, and so you can go there to register and register your company. So again, I'll make sure to add that to the list as well. So to sum up, because I have been talking for quite some time, BDC, we are the only bank devoted exclusively to entrepreneurs. We know their markets, we understand their needs, and we're there at every stage of the business journey. So I talked so much about what we do, but I haven't actually talked about what we don't do. So I thought I'd just quickly mention this before I go. Things we don't do. GICs. We don't do grants, although I do get a lot of calls about those. We don't do interest-free loans. We don't do term deposits. So we actually don't offer any kind of bank account. We don't offer credit cards. We don't offer non-commercial loans or residential loans. We don't do lines of credit. So something just to keep in mind. What we do, though, is every dollar in our portfolio is used to support Canadian entrepreneurs and the Canadian economy. I mentioned at the beginning, I love storytelling. At BDC, 62,000 Canadian entrepreneurs that we're able to help, and each one of them has an excellent story to tell, as I know you do too. Our job is to help entrepreneurs overcome the challenges they face, one entrepreneur at a time. And with that, I would be absolutely delighted. Again, I know we didn't have any questions come in so far, but I would love to connect. I would love to know more about your story. And if you have any questions about how BDC might be able to help, whether it's through financing, investment, advisory, just come check out our website, give me a call. All of our contact information is here. Chizoba, that's it for me. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much, Brooke. That was an amazing session. So for our participants who are in the room, I know we don't have any questions, but Brooke, I do have a question for you.
Please.
At BDC, what do you enjoy most about the services that BDC has to offer?
Oh, so I mentioned at the beginning that loans is our bread and butter, and it's so important because we find that businesses, in order to achieve the dream that they have, they need capital to be able to get there, right? Because you need to have money to, whether it's purchasing inventory, supplies, people, to be able to achieve what you want to do. And so I want to first acknowledge that that's really important. But my favorite part is the advisory services part. It's being able to sit down and have a conversation to really learn more about how does your company work? What is it that you're actually trying to accomplish? And one of the things I find so often is that entrepreneurs entrepreneurs, they sit with the things that challenge them. And yet what we're really looking for is an opportunity to talk about the things that excite them. Tell me more about what you're excited about. Tell me more about your vision. And then we can work together to figure out, okay, well, what do you need to get there? What's missing? And so whether it's through strategic planning, financial management, the operational efficiency, these are all just, sort of lenses you can bring to the question of where do you want to go and what's preventing you to get there? And then being able to dig in and work on action plan. And the two things I love most in terms of the offering, one of them is we offer a fixed price contract. And so many times when you're working with consultants, it's okay, well, how much is this going to cost me? How long is the engagement? There's a lot of parameters that are very open, and sometimes rightly so, because it's not clear on what's needed and walking through that process. But at BDC, we make sure that it's a very clear contract. It's for a certain length of time and for a fixed price, which is important for cash flow. And the other piece that comes out of that is that our core is to educate. We want business owners to know how to do this. And so we really come in as a coach to be able with real and tangible tools. Because one of the things I find is that people have told me, oh, well, I brought in this great work and they did this fabulous work, but I don't know what to do with it now. I don't know how to edit it myself. And so it's really about teaching you how to do the work so that you can level up your skill and you can do it yourself going forward.
That's awesome. I can see how passionate you are about BDC, and I love it. Like I definitely love the passion. So for our entrepreneurs and our founders here at Founders Fund, how do they go about setting up these conversations, or how do they go about getting in touch with people at BDC to grow their business?
That's a really great question. I would say it depends on where you are in the stage of your business. So if you are in the early stage, you're looking at DIY, you're looking at, how do I figure out what's available for me for financing? We have partnered, so I will say there's an age around this, but we have partnered with Futurepreneur. You heard me talk about at the beginning. And while BDC does support at all areas and through the journey, because we are part of the whole of government supports at this time, a lot of our startup funding is being funded through Futurepreneur and in partnership with them. So if you are 39 and under, then I definitely recommend reaching out to them if you're in the early stages of your business. And if you're not, then reach out to us as well. Just we've got a 1-800 number. Call. There's always someone there. And in fact, during the pandemic, when it first started in their initial lockdown, I actually was redeployed to the phone lines because we got so many calls they needed support. And so there's an amazing team. They're so knowledgeable. So call us. And that's probably the best way to start. And then the second one is to pop online. So if you need under $100,000, it is actually that easy. It takes maybe, I'm going to say, if you have all your documentation together, which is just very, there's a couple of questions that we ask. So there might be a couple of things you need to look up, but it can be finished really quickly. Like this is not days of work. This is like, maybe less than an hour, half an hour to put together the application. There's no fee, and it then goes through the process, and someone will give you a call and let you know what the outcomes are. A lot of it's done through email as well. So that's one way. And then another way is to be able to reach out to any one of our business centers or our account managers and say, hey, I want to have a conversation. And one of the things that I think is so important about that question is, at any stage of your business, no matter what it is that you're planning, I always say, come and talk to your banker first, and specifically a commercial banker. And if you're going to do that, even if you're going to invest in your own business and you're planning on using your savings or your RSPs, come and talk to us first about that too. Because one of the things that people don't realize is that we do take into consideration what could be used as leverage against the loan. Like what are the things that you have available as collateral, and not personal collateral, but we do take into consideration the whole picture, not just the business, but you as a person. And so what's really important about that is to just make sure you understand the implications, because sometimes people come back after they've used all their savings and then come back and say, well, I'm trying to get a loan. And it could have been a different conversation of maybe we could have gotten a loan, and whether it's with your chartered bank or with BDC, either way, make sure you go and have a conversation, really truly understand your options, and keep asking questions, because sometimes people will try to tell you what's the easy answer, not necessarily the best answer. So make sure you talk to a couple people. So that's my tip on that one. Come talk to us early. We do have lots of advice. We like to talk, but we're also really good at recognizing risk. And so we're a great person to also help assess your business plan. And we may have some other tips for you to consider as well.
Awesome. Thank you. So a question that's kind of like running around in my mind is, should our founders be prepared with an accountant before they come to BDC, or is it fine for them to prepare their documents themselves?
That is such a good question. And it's an important question because every time you invest in professional services, you want to make sure that you fully understand, what is you're paying for and why. And so we do recommend as a business, you always want to make sure you have your own separate business account. It's so important. You want to have separation of personal and professional expenses. You want to be able to, maybe not, and again, it depends on the size and scope of your business, right? But I do suggest, even at the beginning, going in for a consultation to find out, how do you set up your books? What are the things that you need to know? They're, again, such a fabulous resource to help you to balance between what you need to know for your banker versus what you need to know for your taxes, the different objectives. And so being really open and transparent and treating them like a team, assembling them, adding them to your advisor pool, right? The people who you have as your advisors, having an accountant and a banker on that roster, I think is important. And one of the reasons why I raise that as an option is because, some people don't think about they don't think about how do I interact? Are they, maybe a nervousness? So, I would say it's not necessarily a requirement, but I absolutely recommend it. At least one conversation or one consultation, just so you know that you've got yourself set up well. I'm all for the DIY, but you want to make sure that you're putting your effort aligned with what your anticipated outcomes are going to be.
Right, that was an awesome answer. Thank you for clarifying that. Um, so for we don't have any further questions from our participants, which is fine. But Brooke, do you have any last minute takeaways that you'd like to share with our members here?
Well, I'm going to pop in the chat some of those resources because I talked about so many. I talked about B Corp, I talked about the coronavirus supports, I talked about the well-being for entrepreneurs, I talked about the small loan, I talked about supplier diversity. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. I just realized I don't have one of them, so I'll look that one up in a sec. But I'm popping those in the chat right now, so you'll have those. And Chuzo, I'll email those for you as well in case anyone has any other questions about them. But I think my last piece of advice, well, really come talk to us early. I don't know how to say that more often because people don't. And we're here to be able to share and support. And we've got lots of great tools, advice. So yeah, definitely check out our website. I'd say probably my top tip, and then come and have a conversation with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brooke.
Oh, my
Yes,
pleasure.
as Odessa said, this is a very informative session. So I'm so grateful that you were able to join us again and share your knowledge with us. So thank you so much to you, Brooke, and thank you to all of our participants. This was an amazing session, and I will definitely share these resources that Brooke has kindly shared with our members. All right, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.